G'day to all you blokes and Sheilas out there. This is Gareth Price of the Sinister Siblings. And if any of you were around at the beginning of our channel, you would realise that I am still a great fan of Rooster Teeth as well as Ruby. Now, back when Ruby was just exiting the hype of its second season, I started working on something I wanted to present to Monty. A sort of very long off prequel spin-off. Sadly, he passed on before I could do so. I still hold hopes that I can try and show it to Kerry and Miles, although those hopes seem to dwindle every year. I did nearly complete the entire first series until I had a change of ideas about how it would work. So in doing so, I've rewritten the whole thing. What I'm making this video here for is I'm going to read out the scripts of its very start. So it starts off similar to how Season 1 starts off with a sort of narration. Without further ado, I'll give it a go now. History. A series of events. A series of recorded events. Oh, for fuck's sake. Try again. History. A series of recorded events that span an infinite time. The world of Remnant has been rich in its life's events, but the history of man, while vast, has always been shrouded in darkness. Though man was created from dust, it was created with a severe flaw in its nature, an unending desire for conflict and destruction. For as long as societies had existed, so had their desire to destroy each other's. All that held them back was their constant attempts of survival against the creatures of Grimm. After dust was found and forged to aid in their survival, people finally saw the light in their hearts and began to create. Lands once infested with Grimm were quickly cleared to create massive kingdoms. People also studied the element to become a near-endless energy source. Some were even so ambitious they wanted to seek a way to set foot on Remnant's twin planet, Despand. But Despand was already inhabited. Her history greatly darker than that of Remnant's. Despand's ground devoid of Grimm to quell her people's primal urge. Humans, Faunus, and Belkan alike would find even the smallest reasons to wage war upon one another. Kingdoms created and crumbled, and empires rose and fell, as people continually repeated the same cycle, while learning nothing but how to deepen their hatred. The seeds of creation, found and nurtured to blossom on Remnant, had been all but drowned in the blood of Despand's destruction. Remnant's natural resource of dust never existed on Despand's soil, but in its place were shard and thermos, more powerful and potent than dust. However, like everything else, they too were only used to further the lust for bloodshed. In a dire effort to put an end to the madness, representatives of each fragment, as well as the cities of the mainland, forged a truce in the heart of Despand's broken core. Through this truce, they built the greatest capital the likes of which Remnant and Despand had never seen. They called this great capital city Kalkoro, and with it a new world order had been forged. The unified order became the greatest symbol of peace and unity between the fragments and all its shared life, a great strive even Remnant could never dream of achieving. But it was not to last. As the memories of the founding generation faded, so did the reasons behind the Order's creation. What took 300 years to build was destroyed in an instant. Capitals of the inner fragments, called the now named Imperial Edict, a tyrannical empire, and clashed to cause chaos. The result was for them to halt being the unified order, to deal with the hostilities, not knowing they had cut the outer fragments off from everything. They in return broke ties with the edict, further throwing all back into the madness of war they worked so hard to escape. Over 1,000 years have passed, and the war continues, but an end is in sight. The only question is when. I will admit that is not one of the best intros, but I'm trying. I may have to adjust and, do it all again, rewrite that as well. But hey, that's when it comes to creating, original or inspired ideas. It's trial and error, a work in progress. Something will fit in that. I can only hope. Cheery.